Hello and welcome to the sewing studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make the block in this quilt behind me, and this is called Picnic in the Park. And this is made using a 10-inch square from a layer cake and also using a plain colour layer cake. So I've got this one here today called Hello Sunshine, and I've got a white layer cake which is a solid colour. Now you could do it with white as I've done in the centre of those blocks, or alternatively if you wanted to make it very pink you could make it using a plain pink square, and these are from the junior layer cake range. So we do lots of different colours. If you wanted to do one say with grey, you would choose your layer cake to go with grey, but for the purposes of today, to show you how to make the block, I'm going to use a floral block and some white fabric. So what you need is you need your square of floral fabric, and I've put this over the white fabric, and I'm going to cut them stacked together. Before I cut, I'm going to give them a press because that makes them stay together so we don't get very much movement. So I'm just going to line them up and give them a quick press, and then I'm going to put them on my rotating cutting mat because this makes life a bit easier. If you haven't got one of these, you can use a smaller cutting mat and you can pick the mat up rather than picking up the fabric. And we are just going to cut off 2.5 inches, and then I'm going to rotate the mat and I'm going to cut another 2.5 inches. Rotate it again. Two and a half inches. Rotate it again. And 2.5 inches. So I've cut 2.5 inches off all of the way round. And what this has done is it's given me 4 corners, 4 side pieces and a centre. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to swap my corners. So I'm putting my floral one at the bottom, my white one on top, on all 4 corners. And then my centre piece I'm going to swap. So that is one of my blocks. And then underneath in reverse, I've got it going the opposite way round. So I've got the floral one and then the edge in white and the edges in floral. If I show you, it'll be easier once I've sewn them all together, you'll see what I mean. So you're just literally swapping it all out, and now I'm going to go to the machine and I'm going to chain piece this. So I take that and put that on top, and I'm going to stack them so that I don't get in a muddle. So I'm going to go to the machine with this block. So now you can see, now I've taken the top block off, you can see what I was referring to with the other one. So when you look at the quilt, you can see that you've got one square that's white in the centre, and then the square next to it is a patterned one in the centre. So I'm just going to the machine now and I'll sew these together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew each one, and when I get to the end I'm going to stop with my needle in the work and pick up the next piece. So it makes it quicker and you're not wasting too much thread. So you can see there that I've stopped with the needle in, so I'm going to pick up the next pair. As always, it's a 1/4 of an inch seam. And then I'm going to pick up the white square to go on the opposite side of this one. And now we're going to go back to the iron and I'll show you how we press this. So you can see that I've got all the pieces joined together because they've been chain pieced. So I'm just going to snip in between each of these where my thread is. And I'm going to set the seams and I'm going to press them in towards the coloured fabric. And I'm going to do that with every piece so that you'll see how they all lock together. So set your seam and then press towards the florally fabric. And then we're going to go back to the machine and we're going to join these up, because what we're going to do is we're going to push our seams together. And if I show you on the other camera, it might be easier to see. So if we look on this camera, we're going to join this to our middle piece. So we're going to join these two together. But what we need to do is we need to push our seams together. So you can see we've got a high side of a seam there and a high side of a seam there. And we need to push those together so they butt up together. And this should give us a nice crisp point where they join. So again, a 1/4 of an inch seam. And as we come down here, I'm just going to make sure that these two actually go together. I've gone over a little bit there, but that's not the end of the world. You can always give it a good trim. But you can see here that we've got a nice point where they meet. So you do the same with the bottom piece, and then I'll show you what the two blocks look like. So we'll go back over to this camera, and here's two that I've prepared earlier on using a pink fabric. So I've got the white with the pink going around the edges, and I've got the pink in the middle with the four corners repeating like that. So that's your block. That finishes at 9 inches. And the beauty of this quilt is you can make it as big as you want or as small as you want. And if you have a pack of white squares and you have a layer cake, you have got enough fabric to make 2 quilts. So we're just going to go over to the quilt and we're going to look at how these blocks have been put together. So now you can see how the blocks have gone together. And as I said, the beauty of this is you can make it as big as you want or as small as you want because the blocks finish at 9 inches. So when we lay it out, we do a block that has got a pattern centre, then one with a white centre, then one with a pattern centre, and so on. And in the row above and below, it goes the opposite way, pattern, plain, pattern, plain. So you can put this together however you want, make it as big as you want. So this one measures approximately 58 inches by 72 inches. And that's because we've put a border on as well using white fabric. I've done a little fillet in this checked fabric, the same as I've used for my binding. And my quilting is my favourite quilting stitch because it's so easy, and I've literally gone along each block using this wavy line stitch as a quilting. So as always, have fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the sewing studio. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's a button just to my left. If you've got any questions, we're happy to answer those in the comments below. And for all your patchwork and quilting needs, head on over to the sewing studio. We have an amazing array of patchwork and quilting products, and all of the relevant links are in the description below. Look forward to seeing you next time.